In this tutorial we're going to be recoding 3 different variables, and then we're going to take those recoded variables and combine them to create an index. And so the variables we'll be looking at, I've got the GSS 2006 dataset open already, at least a version of it. The variables we're going to be looking at are confidence in the executive branch of federal government, confidence in the United States Supreme Court, and confidence in Congress. And what we're going to do is create a general confidence in government index by adding these variables together. Now before we can do that, I want to just take a look at something. If we look at the values for these variables, you'll see that they're coded in a way that 1 means that somebody has a great deal of confidence, 2 means only some, and 3 means hardly any confidence. And then we've got other numbers that refer to don't know or not applicable. And we're not going to be interested in these particular values for any substantive reason. So what I want to do is I want to reverse order these. I want 3 to be a great deal and 1 to be hardly any, so that a higher number means more confidence. And we've got 3 variables that have the same sets of values, so if we add them together, 3 plus 3 plus 3 will be 9, and so the index will range from 3, which will be hardly any, to 9, which is a great deal of confidence in government in general. So first let's start with transforming and recoding into different variables. We're going to find the confidence variables here: confidence in executive branch of the federal government, confidence in the Supreme Court, and confidence in Congress. We're going to click the old and new values, and remember 3 we want to become 1. We'll add that. 2 is going to remain 2, and 1 is going to become 3. We'll click add there, and after that we're going to say all other values are system missing, and we'll add that. Okay, so we should see something like this in this window, the old and new values lined up next to each other, and we'll click continue. Okay, now we're going to click on each of these variables individually, and we're going to give them a new name. So the old variable is confed, and I want the new to be called confed reverse, and that'll tell me, and I'll label this as reverse coded confidence in executive branch, and I'll click change, and we'll do the same thing with con judge. We'll call this con judge reverse, and reverse code confidence in the U.S. Supreme Court, and we'll click change for that. And con legis will be con legis reverse or recode, whichever you like. I go back and forth myself. Reverse code confidence in Congress, and we'll click change. So at this point we're going to be at one time reverse coding all 3 of these variables at the same time. Because they were initially given the same sets of values, we can do that. We'll have the same sets of old and new values for each one of these 3 variables. Alright, and so when we're set, we'll just click OK, and we'll see here the output window will pop up. What we want to do is scroll down and ensure that the new variables were created correctly. And so what we should see are 1s and 3s, and the missing values are those people who did not actually answer those questions for whatever reason. Right, and they should correspond to the values in the data set. If you go to variable view, you could find the originals. There's confidence in the executive branch, for instance, and you'll see a lot of zeros, and other values that are not 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so now that we've created the new variables, I'm going to go ahead and hit transform compute, and I'm going to call this new variable con govt, which will be confidence in government. And I'm going to scroll down and find those new variables I created, and I'm going to add them together. So I've got confed reverse, conjudge reverse, plus conlegis reverse. So confed reverse plus conjudge reverse plus conlegis reverse equals this new variable congovt, or confidence in government. And I'll click OK. And below, if I go to the variable view, I should be able to see at the bottom this congovt variable. And if I double click to the side of that, it'll bring me to the data view, and I should see that this value is the sum of these values no matter where I click, right? 3 plus 1 plus 2 is 6, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And the way we interpret that is a 6 is somewhere in the middle in terms of confidence, a 3 is low confidence in government, and a 9 is the highest score one could have for confidence in government. And if we wanted to, we could run some frequency distributions for those three new variables. I'm going to select them all at once, holding down the control key. And I think I will make a bar chart for that. I like to do percentages. And we'll click OK. And then we'll examine the output. And we should see our new variables, which we've got the values for confed reverse, 1, 2, 3, how many people fall into those categories, and what percentage fall into those categories. We're going to look at valid percent because that's the percentage of the people who actually answered the question. So that's what we really want to know. So for instance, about 40% of the sample has very little confidence in the executive branch, while 15% has a great deal. 45% are in the middle. Similar pattern for the Supreme Court, which is the con-judge. And if we look at con-legis, which is confidence in Congress, we see only 11% has a great deal of confidence and 35% has very little. So for all three of these, we see the bulk is in the middle. And if we look at the new index, con-government, which combines those three together, we look at the valid percent for this, we see that the majority of people fall in the middle as well. That's taking those three variables, adding them together. Only 5% have a great deal of confidence in all three branches of government, and 10% have very little confidence in all three branches of government. Right. So that is the conclusion of our demonstration here of how to create recoded variables and how to create an index.